Hey everybody, it's David. I'm back. It's another time here doing Amazon Flex. I promised after a few times of this, I would do another video. And this is, I guess it's my fifth time, technically. The first time I didn't get to do it, was paid anyway. So I've done it 4 times since then, if you include this one. So this is my follow-up video. In this video, I'm going to give you some more information about what is Amazon Flex, the requirements to sign up, and some kind of, to me, exciting tax benefits that I've learned about since starting to do this. And then I'll give you my opinion about what I think about this so far. Keep in mind, my channel is specifically about financial independence, retiring early, and living your best life now. So I am looking at this from the perspective of someone who is retired or retired early and might be looking for some gig work. I totally get that many of you are watching this that are not in those categories, but I hope that this information will be helpful for you if you are thinking about, doing this Amazon Flex thing, or maybe some other kind of gig work. So that is the plan for today. First, I'm going to get in there and get my stuff. If you recall what happens when you pull in, I'm at one of the sites where you get the cart and bring it out to your car. I'm going to go in and scan my ID, sit down for a little while, and hope there is a route available where I can get the packages. And then I'm going to wheel them out here and load up the car, and then we are going to head out. I'm going to tell you just a few times. Hopefully I'll have time. I'm going to stop a little bit and tell you how the day has gone. And then at the very end of the video, I'm going to give you all that information that I talked about. And hey, if you don't want to sit through all that stuff, YouTube has this great feature where I can add chapters, and I do plan on doing that. I'm going to add chapters to this video, so you'll be able to see the various topics, and feel free to skip around and just choose what topic is most interesting to you. All right, so here we go. It is number 5, the 5th time I've done Amazon Flex. I'm going to go inside and hey, let's get started. I'm stopped here at a business. It's a great chance. What I'm doing here is I've reorganized the packages a little bit. I've got the smaller things that are my next 4 or 5 deliveries right here in the front seat. And then the other things in the middle section of my car, and the last things there at the very back of the car, back by the gate. So far, I've been to a couple of apartments. Those are always the hardest, figuring out the buildings and then which is the right number, and then going up and down the stairs and those kinds of things, and not so bad. And the delivery area this time is probably my best because it's in an area of town that I'm very familiar with. It's not necessarily close to my house, but it's an area of town that we are at often. And let's see, I have now officially been doing this for an hour and 15 minutes, and I think that was package number 15 I just dropped off. So hey, so far so good on this 5th time of doing Amazon Flex. Well, hey everybody, it's David. Well, I did it. I finished my 4th time delivering with Amazon Flex. It was my 5th block. If you recall from the beginning, I wasn't able to do that first one. So as promised, I got a lot of things to talk about. I'm going to give a bit of an overview of how this day went, and then I'm going to get into some details about Amazon Flex, like I mentioned at the very beginning. In fact, I printed out some notes. I wanted to make sure that I covered all the big information. I'm going to talk about what is this Amazon Flex thing, how much I'm getting paid for it, and then some of the most important stuff that I get the biggest questions of: taxes and insurance. So please hope you stay all the way through the end to learn about those things. But first, how did today go? I had wrote it down. I had 27 stops and drove a total of 29 miles. Had a mixture of residential areas, and I had some businesses that I went into. And I really went pretty smoothly. I had one challenge. I went into an apartment complex, and I got up to the door of the actual apartment, and I had to ask someone down in the office, how to find the apartment, so I was able to find it. And then I get to the door, and the app, it didn't think I was at the right place and wouldn't let me scan the package to deliver it. So I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And there is in the app a help option. So I did that. And it took me to chat, and I did chat. I told the situation to the chat person, who responded immediately, which was great. and told me to first verify that I was in the right location. Well, I knew I was in the right location. I'd asked someone, but okay. I headed that way to ask, and then they also came back on the chat and said, did you call the customer? I had not done that. The cool thing is if you are, needing a question answered and you got a call, it does it through the app. So you're not going to see your phone number. It's going to be a phone number provided by Amazon. I tried calling the number. It went right to voicemail. And then at that time, I saw the person who lived in the apartment step out. And sure enough, I told me his name, and that was the name on the thing. And then I gave him his box and tried to move on. But still, the app was saying I was someplace else. I'm chatting with the representative, and he said, or she, or whoever, what it was, that they would reset it, which they did. So that part was great. By the time I got back into the car, I was able to go on to the next place. And actually, that was part of what has been really surprising to me. I have enjoyed driving around the different places in town, like a apartment complex here. I've never seen this place before. I went in several businesses today, and as you can tell by my talking now, I'm kind of chatty. I enjoyed meeting people and seeing the business, and that part was kind of neat. I did not expect that to be as fun. And I finished exactly on time. And even before I clicked on start with the camera, I was paid for the day through the Amazon Flex debit card, which is what I have set up. So that was my day. It went pretty well. Again, I'm doing the 3-hour blocks only. I'll explain in a second why I'm doing that as a reminder. Okay, so let's get into this. What is Amazon Flex? If you're watching this video, that's probably why you're curious about this Amazon Flex thing. In Amazon Flex, you are using your own car, is what I'm doing, and you are basically an at-will contract employee, meaning you are making the choice to do this for Amazon, and they are doing the choice to let you do it. They are not your employer. It is not a job in that traditional sense. You are completely a contractor. And so what are the requirements? I wrote them down here. Let's see. You must live in an area that offers the service. You've got to be at least 21 years of age. You need a mid-size or larger vehicle. I think in exact detail it says 4 doors. You can have a truck, but the bed has to be covered. Oh, and by the way, this is all in the FAQ about Amazon Flex. I'm going to have that down in the description, and you can spend some time and study that in detail. You obviously got to have a phone, because everything that you are going to do is going to be driven by the Amazon app, which is a pretty cool app. We'll talk about that more in a minute. And you must have a bank account. Now, I am depositing it directly into the Amazon Flex debit card, which I love, because I'm getting the money as soon as my scheduled block ends, which is great. You do also have to have a bank account. It gives me the option to transfer money to the bank account if I were to want to. So those are the requirements to sign up. Again, everything works through the Amazon Flex app. And I'll tell you, this must be really popular, because there is a long waiting list to be able to do this. It was, I learned about it because somebody in my neighborhood was doing it, and I saw them get out of their personal car, and I thought, well, that's really weird. So I asked them, what are you doing? And the person very excitedly started telling me about Amazon Flex and how they signed up and everything. And so I thought that was really cool. I downloaded the app and signed up. Oh, and by the way, when I mentioned blocks, those are blocks of time, not your neighborhood. When I first saw it said no blocks available in your area, I thought it meant that I'd be delivering to my neighbor. No, and maybe I'm just silly, and that was just me. But anyhow, it's blocks of time is how it works. So it was about 6 months before I got the notice that I had been approved to try this out, and I was submitting my stuff. You do go through a background check, and that was great. Then I had my health issue, and it was probably another 4 or 5 months before I did it. And even that was due to an Amazon Flex person. I'm out walking a dog, and I saw someone who was doing it, and I started talking to her, and she was so excited about it. I thought, man, dang it, today I'm going to give it a try. So that is how you sign up. Pretty simple. The pay averages $18 to $25 an hour in my area. I'm in a low cost of living area. You may live in an area that has a higher cost of living, and those rates per hour, maybe more. I don't know. If you're someone watching this that's already doing it, Let me know in the comments and let other people know what are the rates in the area that you live in. The pay is in blocks and times, like I've mentioned. The shortest I've seen, and I've only seen it once or twice, I think I saw a 2-hour. Most of them are 3 hours, 3.5 hours, 4 hours. The longest I've seen, I believe, is 5.5 hours. Now, again, I've only been doing 3-hour blocks. I'm being very picky. I'm only doing it in the daytime. I am doing this right now to learn, not to earn. So that's why I'm doing the 3-hour blocks. You are paid at the end of the time that that block ends immediately, even if you finish earlier. I had a 3.5-hour block last week. I brought my wife along, which was great. She helped organize things, and it was just fun having her along with me to see what it was like. But we finished that in 2.5 hours, but still got the full 3.5-hour block agreed to pay. And yes, you can bring someone along. They are not allowed to enter the facility or participate really in the delivery activity. She did help me organize the packages, and I'll talk about how I organize just real quickly here in a minute. And when I was waiting to go in to get started, I noticed looking around me, there were a couple of people that had their dogs with them. Now, there was one dog that's barking away and ended up, of course, being a schnauzer, which is what I have. I don't think my 13-year-old dog would appreciate riding around with me all day, so I won't be doing that. I also saw someone that had their kid with them. The kid was in the back helping load things up. So you can bring someone along if you were to choose to. Leave that up to you to decide if that is a good thing. When you are going through the app and you're seeing how many the hours it is and what to pay, you also see the location. I mentioned in the first video that I was picky on my first location as I'm learning versus earning. And I chose one where you get the cart and you load everything up outside. There are some where you drive the vehicle in. Pro tip there on that. When you look at the app, it shows you the address of the facility. So I went in and I looked at the different facilities. I wanted to pick the one that was closest to my house to reduce that drive time and the drive miles. And Google had pictures. So from those pictures, I was able to figure out which facility was the one where I was parking outside versus driving in. That may not be the case where you live, where someone has posted some pictures, but hey, look at those pictures and maybe that can help you see it. Yeah, if you really want to get picky about it, maybe you look at the addresses and drive down there and check it out before you sign up for something. The app will actually give you that address and through the map. So an hour, 2 hours before your block begins, you'll get a little notice. And you can click on the app and it will give you driving instructions on how to actually get to the facility. And that was really, really helpful the very first time I did it. I mentioned before about the training, and the training is all done through the app. It's actually pretty good. The training does cover that facility where you drive in and how to do it. And that is basically it. Now, this is one of the best possible gig works if you have no desire to be around people. You learn completely on your own. But you are also 100% on your own when you go in and do your package pickup. And that first time I got lucky, I got to talk to someone next to me who gave me a bunch of tips and tricks on what to do, and then I didn't actually have to deliver anything. The next time I'm chatting away to the person next to me, and he eventually turns to me and goes, "Oh, no English." So maybe I was being too chatty, or maybe he just didn't want to speak to me. But either way, you are 100% on your own. So it is very important that you go through all the training. I even recommend maybe if you haven't done it in a while, do like I did. Go through the training again that morning so that you remember. And watch videos like this. Videos of people that have advice and have been doing it. Heck, I'm only on my 5th time, so by no means am I an expert. But just be prepared that you are completely on your own, and that first time is going to be stressful. When you encounter issues like I did in that apartment complex, and I couldn't deliver because of that, thankfully there is some support. But hopefully you are someone who is proactive and you're okay with being uncomfortable and learning new things, which is kind of what I'm doing. So be okay with being uncomfortable. It's kind of like life is like a box of chocolates. Isn't that the saying? It's the same with your route. You have absolutely no idea what your route is going to be until you scan that very first package and it loads onto the app. Well, I probably will post a screenshot of what that looked like. So you have no idea where you're going. You could be driving way out. The first one that I did was in a side of town completely opposite of where I live. It was very interesting in the places that I went. The time that my wife went with me, it was on the far southwest part of town, and I live in the far northwest part of town. And then this particular time was actually great because it was in an area of town that we are at frequently. And so I was very familiar with the area where I was going around, but it was neat seeing places that I hadn't seen before. So that's another thing. And you can look at that as two ways. You can look at it as a great adventure. You have no idea where you're going to go, the people you're going to meet, or what things you're going to encounter that day. Or you can look at it as something that is going to be just a horrible experience. What do you think between those things? Leave a comment, let me know. Now, we're going to talk about one of the biggest questions that I get is, what about insurance? Amazon does provide insurance, commercial driver's insurance, while you are using the app. I'm going to have a link down below, that FAQ. But the more details about the insurance did not have access to until actually being signed up. So here's some details. It has liability coverage of $1 million for uninsured and underinsured motorists. Comprehensive collision coverage only if you have it. So if you don't have comprehensive coverage, which I do, you're not going to get that if you are in an accident. It matches what you have. If you have liability only insurance, that's all that you're going to get. And if you have no insurance, if you're trying to do that, you're going to get no coverage if you were to be in an accident. That comprehensive and collision insurance is valued up to $50,000, and there is a $1,000 deductible. It does not cover passengers. I mentioned bringing my wife along, so it would not cover her, which I don't know why that would matter so much, because it also does not include medical. So that is the insurance part. I had several people leave comments saying, well, your insurance rates are going to go up because you are doing this. I did call my agent. It turned out she was very familiar with gig work, and she said that because in this case, I'm delivering packages. So if you are delivering stuff like Grubhub or you're doing this, it does not impact my insurance rate at all. She said if I were doing a rideshare like Uber or Lyft, it does impact the insurance. That was from my company. I'm with State Farm, and it might be specific to my state. So check with your insurance person to see if there is an impact. So here is a big one, and I got a lot of comments about that, is taxes. And I'm going to tell you, this is going to sound weird. I am so excited about the taxes. So hang on and let me explain. I want to remind you that my channel, we're talking about people that are early retired or maybe retired, doing some gig work. Your tax impact may be different. And I am not a CPA. I am not a tax person. I will be talking to the CPA that does our taxes to verify all these things, but this is what I was able to find out. And I also talked to some other self-employed people. When doing this, you are self-employed. So, contract employee, you're self-employed. And one of the most important things is you do have to pay taxes. You got to pay your Social Security tax, and you have to pay your Medicare tax. And that is a total of 15.3%. And you want to do this, from what I understand, quarterly. If you get to the end of the year and you've not paid these taxes, there is a potential for a big penalty. And I definitely don't want that. So I will be estimating my earnings for this year, and I plan on paying quarterly. And it says anyone earning $400 or more from self-employment need to report that to their taxes. Now, those taxes are calculated on your net self-employment income minus business expenses. And half of your self-employment tax can be adjusted to income. So here is the cool part where I get excited, is those expenses. I am financially independent, so I am living off my investments, those type of things. I don't have an earned income at all. But because I am now a self-employed independent contractor, I have a ton of tax deductions as a result of doing this Amazon Flex. Little things like my office supplies. You can see that plastic crate back there. I would be able to deduct that. A phone is required to do this. It's my understanding you can deduct up to 50% of your phone bill. Mileage, a lot of questions about mileage. In 2025, the mileage not reimbursement deduction is 70 cents a mile. Very critical from day one that you're tracking those miles, how many miles that you're driving around, and then how many miles it took you to get to the facility. Amazon counts picking up the packages as pickup number one, so you may be able to deduct even getting there. You can't deduct it all coming back. Check that with your CPA. So those are kind of the basics. The other one that's really cool from someone in my perspective, I am on Obamacare, the healthcare.gov plan, as my health insurance. And I'm paying a lot. I am paying almost $800 a month just for my premium because I have a health issue. And you can see a video I have about my details on the HSA or the Obamacare plan. And I am going to be able to deduct 100% of my healthcare costs because I have no other healthcare. I don't have a corporate provided because I'm self-employed. So for me, I'm getting a lot of exciting benefits from this. I'm going to be able to deduct the miles. I'm going to be able to deduct the supplies. I can potentially deduct my phone bill. But because I'm not anticipating making a whole lot of money into this, I'm going to be able to deduct 100% of my healthcare premiums up to the amount of money I earn doing Amazon Flex, which is super exciting for me in my situation. That may not apply to you, but for someone who is self-employed and paying for their own health insurance, that is a big deal and makes me pretty excited. So that was it. What is my final assessment of this? You know, it kind of depends on your goals. So you have to decide for yourself based on the information I've provided. The comments down below, and there's going to be, if you read them all, some really positive comments. There's going to be some super negative comments as well. They are both very valuable because you have to make this choice. I think that if you are doing 4 hours or more, you need to do the longer ones to make it worth your time to get a return on investment of your time. And if you're someone, you know, just looking for some occasional work to do here and there, it is a great thing. And I do definitely plan on keeping on doing it. If you're looking to make a living doing this, if you account the wear and tear in your car and the inconsistency of maybe not being able to get blocks at times, I'm not so sure. But that is your personal choice to decide. I'm enjoying it. This was fun. And I just thank you so much for watching. Please, if you're getting value from this, leave a comment, you know, do the thumbs up, all those kinds of things. Again, I'm doing this hopefully for you, to help you, you know, learn from me, learn from my good things, learn from what went well, and learn from the ways that I screw up, which of course I'm going to do a lot of that. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of my channel. And hey, thank you for riding along with me as we all learn about Amazon Flex.